everyone. Today we're going to talk to Bill Pascrell. We're going to call this episode Stories with BP3 by Online Gamblers. And we're going to focus a little bit upon you, Bill.
Okay.
Yeah?
Sounds good.
Okay, perfect. So tell me, where were you born? How, did you grow up? Have you any siblings or?
Grew up in Paterson, New Jersey, which is called the Silk City because they were the first city in America to make silk stockings.
Ah, okay.
It's also where the steam locomotive was built and founded, and the Colt revolver.
Okay, that's very broad. So.
The Colt 45.
Yeah, I know, the gun, yeah.
The gun, and so there's a great waterfall there. It's the second largest east of the Mississippi, called the Great Falls, second largest to Niagara Falls. I was born, raised, went to school there. My mom and dad still live there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's about 16 miles from here.
And do you have siblings who still live there as well? Or?
I have two brothers. They're twins. They're younger than me, David and Glenn. They went to school there, grew up there. They're now married and live in Montclair, New Jersey.
Okay.
Which is a very hipster town.
Hipster, okay. Well, it sounds very cool. And how did you, grow up? Did you have to play sports? Or did you like games? What was your hobbies when you were younger?
I went to Don Bosco Tech, which had a phenomenal baseball team. I played baseball. I was a center fielder.
Oh, center fielder, okay.
And I was a good hitter. I was a leadoff hitter. And I ultimately ended up getting very sick when I was 16 years old. Went to the hospital. My mother saved my life. I had spinal meningitis.
Oh, no.
And I was given last rites by the Monsignor.
Can you, what is spinal?
Spinal meningitis is a bacteria that travels up the spine, and once it gets into the cavity of the brain, you're done. And my mother caught it at the base of the neck.
No.
So I was in the hospital for 45 days, had a bunch of spinal taps where they take the fluid out to monitor it. I obviously survived. I went from 140 pounds to 72 pounds, lost half my weight. I know that's not kilos, but you'll figure it out. The doctors were very good, saved my life, and recognized that I had, as a result of that trauma, juvenile diabetes.
Oh.
So I'm a juvenile diabetic. I take insulin shots every day since I was 16 years old. I'm 59 now.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's, so I played baseball up until I got injured. You know, when I went into the hospital, I couldn't play anymore. I was adjusting with the diabetes. And then began to just focus on other things.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think that's very common for a lot of people, that they have an injury and then they have to refocus suddenly.
Exactly.
So, I mean, if I ask like this, how did you decide you wanted to be a lobbyist?
Well, what happened is my father, who is a member of Congress, he's a U.S. congressman for 30 years. He's on the House Ways and Means Committee. My dad is 87, still in very good health. He played professional baseball in the AA League for the Philadelphia Phillies. But his parents were strong, they're immigrants from Italy. They were strong believers in education, so they pushed him out, forced him to go to college. They wanted him to be a lawyer.
Okay.
He didn't want to be a lawyer. So he played college baseball, then went back, played a little AA baseball for the Phillies. And then he got into teaching. Never was able to make it up to the major league. So he taught for many years and then became a politician. I was inspired by that because I wanted to make my grandfather proud and my dad proud, so I became a lawyer. I was sort of incented. I was waiting on tables at the time to make money when I was in high school.
Really?
And the restaurant that I worked at for 11 years. 4 years of high school, 4 years of college, and 3 years of law school. It was called Florio's Restaurant.
For 11 years?
11 years, yeah.
Wow, I would never have thought that.
Probably 10 years because the first year I was a busboy, just cleaning tables.
Yeah.
Then I became a waiter. Florio's Restaurant is a Abruzzi style traditional Italian restaurant in New Jersey. Really did well. I made a lot of money. But the restaurant was right next to the courthouse.
Okay.
And so I would meet judges and lawyers and prosecutors, and so that inspired me to go to law school.
Okay.
When I was going to law school, I didn't know what I wanted to do.
No.
So I went to go work between my second and third year, because law school's 3 years in America.
Okay.
I went to work for a law firm, a big, big law firm. And I was doing transactional work, bonding, closings, M&As.
Okay.
And I hated it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I hated keeping track of hours. It was too stuffy. I was in the office most of the time, except when we closed the deal, we'd go over to the World Trade Center to close the deal.
Yeah.
I graduated law school and was working on a campaign for a congressman who was running for governor of New Jersey.
Okay.
He won, and my first job outside of that law firm, because I was in that law firm for about 6 years after I graduated past the bar, I went to become an attorney and then chief counsel for Governor Florio, the governor of New Jersey, for 4 years. I had worked for him when he was in Congress when I was going to college in Washington.
Yeah. So that's how you got your way in.
That's how I got my way in. I worked for the governor. He lost his re-election 4 years later. I went to Washington to become a chief of staff for a member of Congress, Congressman Herb Klein. He then lost 2 years later, and my wife said, get a real job. So the firm I'm with now, 28 years ago, offered me a job. I wasn't really keen on becoming a lobbyist. We kind of referred to it as the dark side of the street. I was there for about 6 months and I started to generate business and loved it.
Oh, okay. I mean, some people say, especially if you want to get into, not lobbyists, but if you want to get into gambling, you have to be able to understand the dark side. So how did you go from a lobbyist into lobbying for gambling then?
So my first client, which nobody believes, but it's true, in the lobby firm was the funeral directors.
What?
Yeah, you know, funeral homes where so they need lobbyists because it's a highly regulated industry. So that was my first, and my second were a group of doctors that were pediatricians.
Oh.
So I used to say I represent cradle to grave.
That's a good slogan.
The third client I got were the firefighters, all the firemen. 6,700 firemen in New Jersey. And then I represented the cops, still do to this day. But then around a year or two in, one of the partners, I wasn't a partner at the time, started pushing me to do work with the casinos in Atlantic City.
Oh, yeah.
My first casino client, I didn't bring in, that one of the partners, John Russo, God rest his soul, he was like a father to me, was the Trump Properties.
Oh, yeah.
So yes, I'm Taj, Trump Marina, Trump Plaza. He had 3 properties there.
Okay.
It was an interesting experience. There's a lot of stories around that I don't think we need to get into. I don't really care for him, not because he's a Republican, because I just don't think he's a very good man. And his casinos all failed, bankruptcies and etc. That experience, though, educated me a lot because I was starting to do work with the regulators. And then I would do work in other states. Then I picked up a bunch of different clients from resorts and Hard Rock and Bally's and called the Nugget and Sands. And so I was just a brick and mortar casino attorney, and I started to work with Mohegan Sun and Foxwoods in Connecticut. Then I started doing work in Vegas, but it was all brick and mortar. Very different.
So when was this? But when did you start in the gambling?
Let's see. I graduated law school in '89. Worked for Governor Florio 90, 91, 92, 93 he lost. Then I went to work for Herb Klein 93, 94. So I joined my firm 29 years ago in 1995.
30 years almost. Crazy.
Almost 30.
That's crazy.
So February next year I'll be 30.
You know I'm 32, so you've done it
There
by
you go.
honor.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, but Bill, that's super interesting. And can I ask you, do you gamble yourself?
I used to be a big poker player. Big meaning I enjoyed it. I play once a week. Knowing what I know, I've become more educated. I like to place a bet on a game or something occasionally, but I'm not a big gambler.
So but if you do bet, it's baseball, I presume then.
No, football, basketball.
Oh, so
college
everything.
basketball. I don't bet much on baseball. There's a game every day. We're going to the game tonight. I bet on football. I'm a New York Giant fan. I bet on basketball. Like, I love my college basketball team's great, Seton Hall. And I bet on the Knicks. I'm a big Knicks fan. They won last night.
Oh, perfect.
So, yeah.
But what's your biggest achievement then in the gambling industry in your career?
By far, and it's funny because a lot of young people like you don't even know this.
Okay.
But in 2009, I was with my lobby firm for 14 years, right? 95 to 2009. And I got a phone call 1 month in October of 2009, 1 month before the governor's election. Different governors. Governor Florio was long gone. Governor Corzine, who used to be high up in Goldman Sachs, was the governor. And Governor Christie, who's a Republican, was running against him.
Okay.
Got a phone call from a guy that most young people like you never even heard of.
Okay.
He's not so old, he's younger than me, I'm old. His name is Joe Brennan.
Never heard.
Called me on a hard line, not on a mobile.
No.
It was in 2009
Good
October.
old days, yeah.
He said, Bill, I don't need a sales pitch. You've been recommended by multiple people. I know you're best of breed. I need to hire you immediately. For what? He says, I want to legalize sports betting and online gaming in America, and I want to start in New Jersey with you. He also wanted to legalize exchange wagering and horse racing.
Okay.
So we had a 1 hour, essentially, conversation. I said, Joe, look, I don't know what you're used to with lobbyists and lawyers. He said, but I don't really traipse into ventures unless I can be helpful. We're in the middle of a governor's election. I can't do anything for you for the next 30 days. Why don't you call me when the governor's election, the first week of November, is over, and we'll have a chat? No, I don't accept that. I want to hire you now.
Okay.
I said, well, do me a favor. Mail me a check for $1. I won't go with anybody else, and we can talk then. So he continued to tell me what he wanted to do. I was mildly sort of interested, but I thought it was bullshit. The election happened. Governor Corzine lost. Governor Christie won. Governor Christie's a Republican. So all the Republican partners in my firm were thrilled.
Okay.
I wasn't so thrilled. But Joe Brennan called me the day after the election. Now, when you lose an election, you know, if you win and you're hungover, that's fun. If you lose and you're hungover the next day, it's not so fun.
No.
Joe called me and said, okay, I'm ready to go. So he represented an organization, and there will be a book written about this. Senator Lesniak has written a small book, but it was more about him than it was about the global subject.
I heard about that one.
Joe Brennan was the executive director of an organization called IMEGA, the Interactive Media Entertainment Gaming Association, made up of 37 offshore, pardon the French, illegal books, based in all the various places we know about, like Costa Rica, Isle of Man, Curacao, right. So I had to get an attorney general opinion to take that client on. And the reason I was able to get an opinion to allow me to take their funds, because the funds were all tainted, was because they were to push to legalize. So I began the project in January of 2010, when the governor got sworn in, to draft legislation on sports betting, on exchange wagering for horse racing, and on online gaming, casino poker. I didn't even know what online gaming was.
Oh, really?
Didn't have a clue.
Oh, wow.
We didn't have online gaming in America.
From the guy who got it all legal.
So I find out when I go home at night and see my older kids, my two boys, they were on Paddy Power, Party Poker, and Poker Stars all the time.
How old were they then?
So let's say this is 2010, 14 years ago. Billy was 17 and Krista was 15.
When they were playing on all of these offshore gambling sites.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So 15. Billy's going to be your age in another 2 months, 32. Christopher just turned 30. So about that.
Yeah.
So they were like interesting because they're like that. We don't bet a lot. We love it. It's great. We're doing it on our phone.
Right.
So the interesting thing about it was I met with Governor Christie during his transition before he became governor to see if he was supportive. He loved sports betting, was supportive of it.
Okay.
And he said, Bill, if it's legal, I'm a little concerned about the Wire Act because he was the former U.S. attorney in New Jersey, federal government. Mm-hmm. Anyway, long story short, I get frustrated because everybody in this industry, not saying they should know me, but they should know this story.
Yeah.
This is how we started the online gaming world in America. In New Jersey, I was the quarterback and I had great partners. Joe introduced me to Isai Scheinberg, the founder of Poker Stars, sent me over to the Isle of Man, which I'd never been to. Oh. Had a wonderful experience with him. He was paying, in addition to some other companies I won't mention because they would be upset because it makes them look foolish, but Isai's a real great guy. Mm-hmm. They were spending $40 million a year in America to lobby Congress for online gaming.
Right.
You know who one of the sponsors of the bill were?
No.
The prime sponsor was Barney Frank, who was the first openly gay congressman out of Boston. Oh. The second sponsor was my father.
Oh.
My father wouldn't know online gaming if it hit him in the face. He knew nothing.
So why did he sponsor?
He did it because a friend of his asked him to do it.
Okay.
And it never moved anywhere. There was no support for it. So for years, they were hiring lobbyists to lobby to get support for the bill. They never even got a committee hearing. I said to Isai Scheinberg in the Isle of Man, 2010, probably May. First time I went to the Isle of Man, I didn't even know where it was, which is like most Americans that don't have passports. But I had a passport. I had traveled before.
Yeah.
I said, Isai, give me 10% of what you're spending a year. 10% for the project. It may take 2, 3, 4 years. I'll get it done, but I think I can get it done in a year or two. Lo and behold, I got it done.
Of course.
Joe Brennan was helping.
Yeah. Because
he was also supporting me through Omega. Isai paid me every penny. Isai was wonderful to work with. I had to break the news to him he wasn't going to be licensed because the regulators, because of the issue. Isai's now a free man. He sorted all his
It's a long issue though there. I remember though he was like sought after or something, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was big.
Oh, yeah. Black Friday, that's what, yeah, exactly. But so going back to that whole thing, so in 2013 you helped legalize online casino. Yeah. Correct.
And then 2018, PASPA.
Well, so 2013, the first legislation for online gaming, the governor vetoed it because of the Wire Act. So I then had to go to Washington and lobby the Obama administration. Eric Holder, the Attorney General, who had signed off on me doing this, changed the Wire Act to allow any state that authorizes online can go. If a state doesn't authorize it, it can't go. We got the bill redone. Governor Christie signed it. The DG had 9 months to get it done, and then Mario Galea, the former regulator with the Maltese Gaming Authority, he was the regulator, was a great friend. A friend of mine and Joe's introduced me to him in Copenhagen years ago. I got the DGE in New Jersey to hire Mario Galea. To help them because they didn't know anything about online gaming and they needed to be educated. There were a whole slew of things, AML, geolocationing, KYC, payment processing, all of that stuff in the digital channel needed to be educated. Mario did a wonderful job. We launched May 23rd, just before Thanksgiving in 2013. And we just last year celebrated our 10-year anniversary. It was a great success.
Yeah.
No geolocation breaches, no cybersecurity breaches. Compliance was solid. It's produced massive jobs. There are 6,700 jobs in just New Jersey in online. Then I started to lobby other states like Michigan, West Virginia, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Delaware, Nevada. So it's like now I've done work in all 39 states plus the District of Columbia that have sports betting. Because when we got PASPA done, I mean, it was an amazing feat. And you bring that local knowledge to the table. I've always wanted and advocated for the industry to have an association.
Yeah.
Because the American Gaming Association, which I respect and like, was really a brick and mortar association.
Right.
They weren't really they wouldn't say they were opposed to it, but they were opposed to it. I remember the then president of the association, not the current one, coming in to meet with Governor Christie, saying he was opposed to sports betting expansion outside of Nevada and opposed to online gaming, and Christie threw him out of his office.
Oh, okay.
So Governor Christie, even though he's a Republican, was very, very smart, forward-thinking, and good to me, and I owe him a lot. As I do the Senate President, Steve Sweeney, God rest her soul, the Speaker, Sheila Oliver, and Senator Lesniak, who was very helpful. He's a great sponsor. He's like a bull in a china shop.
Right, right. Well, I mean, I think everyone can agree that New Jersey really set the precedent for the rest of the states. It's such a good framework that you built there, and it's very good inspiration for all the other states who wants to legalize both online gaming and sports betting. But let me ask you something else then. What's your biggest regret during these 30 years or somewhat that you've been working with this?
In gaming? I know that's a really, it's a good question to ask. You're a really good interviewer. I really don't have many regrets. Like, a lot of people have said to me, oh my God, Bill, you should have made so much more money. People took a chance with me. I delivered, and I've continued to deliver multiple times.
100%.
Like bringing fixed odds horse racing to America, the most recent. I really don't have many regrets. I've been offered multiple jobs to join operators. I mean, they get bought out tomorrow, and then where am I, right?
Yeah.
I have control over my life. I used to enjoy travel much more than I do now because it gets tough with a 9-year-old, 3 older kids, a wife and family and 2 dogs, and it gets. But my wife's supportive.
Yeah.
She's very supportive. I mean, regrets. I don't have any regrets.
That's good though. That's so
really
good if you can
don't.
say that.
Yeah, and I didn't mind working for Trump because I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't mind the failures I've had. Thank God I didn't have too many because I learned from them.
Right.
My dad was a professor, a high school teacher and a professor, and he always put a lot of value in education. I'm a big proponent of you have to educate before you advocate.
Right.
So if I'm going to advocate to you, Senator or Governor, I need to make sure you understand the context of what's going on.
Right, right.
Today, we call it in America GR, government relations.
Okay.
It's not really where it should be in our industry. There's some industries like tobacco, alcohol, the tech industry, I would call the sort of the Googles and the Amazons and the TikToks. They're really good at what they do. The gaming industry has to do a better job because it's got a great story to tell. And when you have a great story, you should be going in and telling that story for the industry, not to say, hey, Katie, take care of my company and screw the rest of them, right? It's always like anti-competitive discussions, as opposed to saying we should have a proper tax rate, not what New York has, 51%. We should have good regulation. We shouldn't ban affiliates. We should have payment processing that's nimble. But you know that's what makes my job fun because most of the people that do what I do don't do it very well.
It's very, very tough. And that's my next question actually. Like, what's the most challenging thing whenever you do your job? Trying to educate, like you said now, or like what would it be?
Yeah, easy answer. It's not educating governors and legislators. It's sort of educating the industry.
Okay.
The industry itself, because politics, which is right next to governance, is not always logical.
No.
It's emotional. What do politicians care about? Votes, publicity, money, right?
Yeah.
That's what they care about. So you have to talk their language and explain to them, like the legislators that backed sports betting, they're going to go down in history. Senator Lesniak, he's been out of office for years, almost a decade, but people still know his name.
Yep, because you're innovative and you're trying to, set the precedent.
Correct.
But Bill then, okay, so an opposite question. What inspires you to keep going every single day and keep working with the gambling industry?
I had a really nice call, and he probably wouldn't mind, but you know him.
Okay.
He's very smart and powerful. He's in the investor industry in our space.
Okay.
And he said, Bill, I want to talk to you before SBC because I don't know that we'll have the proper time to catch up. It's so busy. You're busy, I'm busy. He made my day. He said to me, Bill, I know you're not scraping for clients. Katie, 20 years ago, I would bite this water bottle to get a client. I was clawing and scraping and fighting. And he said to me, I really want to know more about what you're interested in because I really, my investors like what you've done, respect what you've done, and they want to do more with you.
Yeah.
And I was like flattered, but also like, wow, this is kind of nice. I'm not going to shout it off the mountaintop, but I share it with you because I respect you. He said to me, what are the kinds of things you like to get involved in?
That's
and I said, question. I don't want to just represent another well-known operator. I mean, yeah, you get a few shekels and that's great, but what are you doing?
You've been there, done that,
What I call churning, not really doing anything.
Okay.
I asked this question, and some of my competitors get mad, but I don't care. I really don't care. I'm going to tell it like it is. What have you accomplished? Tell me one thing you've accomplished. Who has gotten exchange wagering done in America? Online gaming. They were spending $40 million a year in Congress. Sports betting and fixed odds horse racing. Now I'm working in esports and other verticals. Off like miniature golf, pro miniature golf. People are betting on drone racing, slap fighting, car-jitsu.
Slap fighting,
so I like differentiators. I like disruptors. I like to kind of mix it up still at this stage. But what I like even more than that is if I meet somebody like you that I like and who is a differentiator, I want to work with them. I've worked with enough jerks to say I've had enough of that. So what I'm starting to do now, because I'm going to turn 60 later this year, I'm still healthy and young and vibrant, but I imagine in 5 to 10 years, I'm going to want to shift a little bit, spend more time with the family. I travel the world, but I don't travel with my family often, right? Very occasionally. Like my wife went with me to Malta last year. She had a ball, but we didn't even get a chance to hang out.
No, I know. It's so crazy.
So like she's taking me to Sicily for my 60th.
Oh, that's
we're not going on my birthday because it's in August. We're going to go after SBC in Lisbon.
Right.
So we're going to go to. She's going to come to Lisbon. She'll be there, and then we'll shove off to Sicily. Now I'm doing work in Italy, which is really cool because it's my homeland. But like. What I've started to do now is get on real boards, not advisory boards. Boards where I'm contributing, okay, and I'm helping them with certain issues they need. Some of the people that are on boards for gaming companies, I just don't even understand where they found these people, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not coming to the dance because I'm investing $20 million where a lot of board seats go. Those board seats are going to be my future because I like doing that. So I started out as just lobbying, then I got into licensing and compliance and advisory services.
Okay.
And what I'm starting to do now is take the knowledge I have and the experience I have in jurisdictions from Australia to Ukraine.
All over the world, yeah.
Right, LATAM, Europe.
Mr. International.
And I'm using that to sort of do two things. Using that to help build organizations' ability to understand government relations and how to deal with regulators. And then I'm also able to educate regulators. Like the Australian regulators, when I first met them 4 years ago, were fascinated by what's going on in America. And it was almost like they thought that, like I was doing them a favor. So I'm blessed. Thankfully, like I'm not one of those guys, Katie, that needs to buy an airplane or a yacht. Okay? I've got my main house, which I love, and my wife loves, and we're putting an addition on. And I have my dream house, which is a beach house in Long Beach Island, New Jersey, which is right on the ocean, and I love it. I don't have to get on a plane to get to my happy place.
Good.
I don't need a house in Malibu.
No.
I don't need a house in Marbella, although I want to be there. I haven't been. But, so it's not like I'm doing it just for the money.
No.
And I also am proud because BP4, I'm BP3.
Yeah, your son, yeah.
He's going to be 32 in July. He's the general counsel for an Australian public company in the horse racing industry.
That's amazing.
So I'm hoping that he can kind of take over the practice when I fade away.
Oh no, don't talk like that, Bill. You're going to be here for a long time. And I feel like, especially like you say, you've done so much for the industry, and it's so important that people get to know this story about you and how you.
That.
Yeah. So I just want to wrap it up a little bit. Like, do you think it's possible to legalize casino or online sports betting in a state?
To delegalize.
To delegalize. They start by legalizing it and then take it away. Do you think it's possible?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think it might happen?
Well, I don't think we're there yet, but I will tell you something. One of the things I was most proud of with the sports betting piece was what we accomplished. We created a template in New Jersey that I used in many other states. New York didn't want to listen. And I lobbied New York. We got it done, but not in the way I wanted it. Any government that taxes something at 51%, and I say it jokingly, you've heard me say it because we love Senator Adamo, he's great. It's like the socialist gaming capital of the world. Like, I have a business and I have to give 51% of my profits to a government?
But it's interesting because now no one really cares about the 51% when everyone's interested in iGaming. You know, everyone wants to legalize online casino. It's like it's going to be a lot more than 51% because obviously it's casino, right? So,
but my best laugh and really satisfying was when Senator Adamo said to me, "You were right," and he's got a bill in to cut the tax rate in half.
Oh, he does?
Oh yeah, it was dropped last year.
Okay.
Now, remember, I just talked about it a few moments ago. Remember one thing, governments rarely cut taxes. But New York realizes that they had a good launch for about 2-3 months and things have flattened out. And that's because the tier 1 operators don't have the capital to invest more in the experience. Okay? So they're realizing that that tax rate was obnoxious. Ridiculous. More importantly, here's where the industry is losing an opportunity. And I know something, Katie, at this stage of my life, I'm comfortable in my own skin. I know people don't like to hear this, but I'm not about what I call grinning at somebody. Nice, all very nice, and tell them what they want to hear, or bullshitting them. The industry really needs to hear this message, and they haven't. Let me give you an example. Online gaming had a 10-year sunset, meaning after 10 years, it lapses. Online gaming would have went out of business last year because the industry said, "Oh, Bill, we don't need you. It's going to be authorized easily." June of last year, the legislature wasn't going to renew it. Then they went to 2 years, and then they brought me in and we got it to 5. But what happened? Senator McKeon, who just became a senator in January, knows nothing about gaming, is now on the gaming committee in the Senate. He just proposed a tax increase.
Of course.
To double the tax for sports betting.
Oh.
And you know why?
No.
Because nobody sat down and talked to him about it. And so the industry doesn't know how to be proactive.
Right.
They know how to be reactive. So there's a lot of opportunity here. I am a Democrat, right? I'm not a right-wing guy. I understand governments need money to do certain things, but sometimes governments can be a little obnoxious and claw back too much money, and a lot of the times it's on wasteful things that none of us agree with. We have a great story to tell. We have a great industry. There's so much opportunity. We're creating jobs. Why are you coming at us? Why? Because we haven't done our job.
Oh, so it's all about communication and education. I feel like that's the whole theme with all of it, like the whole industry. We have to get better at it together. So I think it's so important as well that you're here. Thank you for talking to me about it. Okay, last question now, because we're going to wrap up. what kind of trends do you see in the next couple of years when it comes to responsible gambling? So, I mean, we're seeing a little bit of credit cards ban, we're seeing the college prop bet. Like, what else do you see coming?
Well, the prop bet ban's very concerning because all that's going to do is push people to the black market. You know that. If I ban prop bets, which is the most profitable channel in the sports betting industry, I'm just going to push, like, my friends who do prop bets, they're going to go to the black market. I'll tell you another funny story. Needs to be corrected. The industry didn't do a good job. I got it on the ballot, and they said, oh, it'll pass easily, and it failed. You cannot bet in New Jersey on New Jersey colleges.
Right, yep.
Okay? So what do people do when Rutgers or Princeton or Seton Hall, they just go to the black market, the street guy, no tax revenue, no jobs. And we have to do a better job educating, not the regulators, they know this, but the legislatures. I think the future is almost here. I think there needs to be a greater recognition. I'm proud to have been for 4.5 years, almost 5 now, on the Entain Foundation, which is focused on RG with Martin Litschka and Amani Toomer, the former New York Giant. I'm very proud of that relationship. I've been with GVC, now Entain, for 15 years. It's one of my first clients in the space outside of PokerStars, and I mega love the company. They're going through some challenges now, trying to get a new CEO, and they'll sort that out. It's a great brand. They're very responsible and they're forward thinking. Not all their brothers and sisters in the industry are the same forward thinking. A lot of them want to check the box and just.
Yeah.
So if we're not focused on RG, it will be our demise. We're one newspaper headline away from some politician's son, daughter, mother, father, brother, sister going down the rat hole. But what I see about the future, because I think we're going to be able to tackle and block this prop bet ban thing. If that prop bet ban thing goes through, none of these tier 1 operators are going to ever have a chance to be profitable anytime soon. Okay? We know they've struggled to become profitable. It's taken years. But I also see a big battle over sweepstakes and prize picks, right?
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
so pick them. I think there's going to be a battle over that. And then we just talked about this a little earlier, Katie. There's another piece that bumps up against RG, and that's this whole announcement by Dave & Buster's. Dave & Buster's is an American company that has these arcade venues
right.
all across the country. And they want to allow young people to sort of wager.
With them?
Yeah.
Legally or?
Well, they're not calling it a wager, but it's pretty much, it's like what DFS was.
Dave & Buster's.
Dave & Buster's.
Dave & Buster's, okay.
Which is a U.S. company that has, I think they might have operations outside the U.S., but like there's one in every major, there's one in New York, there's one in Philly, there's one in New Jersey, and they're big, like we would take our young kids to it to do a birthday party now Dave & Buster's has alcohol, okay?
Okay.
But you can have a birthday party where it's segregated, but they have arcade machines.
Family friendly kind
Family
of.
friendly.
Okay.
Correct. They have food and beverage. But they're talking about trying to monetize their reach because they're very popular. But that's creating a bit of controversy, and we just had a conversation about it where a lot of regulators are very concerned about it. Sort of like skill-based games.
Oh yeah, it's like the sweepstakes.
They like the
thing.
sweepstakes.
Yeah. Well,
So that's what's coming, and there's always new challenges. But that's what makes it exciting.
it's what do you say? Ever-changing industry. It's always something going on. Like you can never calm down before you know it. There's something new happening with regulations, a trend, or whatever. So anyway, thank you so much, Bill, for sharing your stories, guys. This
My
was
pleasure.
Stories with BP3, the man behind the brand. Thank you for having me, sitting here with me.
Thank you for having me, Katie.